what I have come to know about like working with Git and GitHub, it came to my mind when I started learning maybe Git basically. So I used to think like, okay, GitHub was basically based on Git. So if I can learn some basics of Git and then GitHub properly, it will help me. But when you start contributing to open source projects, things are quite different. That's one of the biggest thing that you have to talk about. So things are pretty much different. So why I mentioned about this, the reason is simple. If you just go to any projects in open source, like you want to contribute to open source, now when you want to contribute to open source, you have to basically go to the files, the project. Maybe it is on GitHub or maybe it is on GitLab or any other platform. So you just have to go there. Then you have to get the SSH code, and you have to come to your local computer. You have to clone it in a folder. Maybe if you don't know what is cloning, is basically downloading the whole thing. Okay, but it's not actually. If you know actually about the cloning, if I mention, so cloning is something similar, right? So the benefit of having the cloning is quite different. So let me make you understand about that. Let's talk about it. Okay, so because I want in this series, you just will learn a total stuffs you need to know. We will be covering debugging, we'll be covering revert, we'll be covering reset, and so other stuffs like squash and so on. So it will be awesome for you, okay? With labs, that's the most important part, not like I'm going to talk about the theoretical part only. Okay, if you talk about the cloning, so what happens basically in the developer world, you have to understand that's basically, maybe if you're talking about GitHub, okay, there is a code in GitHub, maybe it's on GitHub. So what you do, you go to GitHub, you in this page, this is the code, maybe it's like CNCF glossary, okay? So it's basically CNCF glossary, assume that it's CNCF glossary something. So this is a project, so you will go there. So let's go and check it out. Let's see what we can do. Okay, and you can see CNCF glossary. Okay, so here you can see from a project how you understand what happens here. So let me give you a brief idea about it. So this is a basically like all of the codes out here, okay? There are all of the codes, and it is basically a readme file. So how is it different or something like that? So readme file is basically out here as well, okay? You can see here the readme. Okay, so but still GitHub has given a special feature so that the contributor, so the admin of the repository can create this, and anyone who want to contribute to this project can easily come out here and check this out. Okay, now the different part. So what's the different part we are going to talk about is basically these are all of the files, and also here are kind of some interesting factors. Okay, obviously this is the readme, this is the code of conduct, okay, by CNCF. It can happen like bigger organizations like CNCF do have their own, and also there is a license. So license is also something different. When you create a GitHub repository, you will see you are prompted to give a you might need to fill up that one or select some licenses out there. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about it, but if you know, you know. Okay, so from here you can see like this project has got almost 603 stars, 37 watching, 500 folks, so 500 people, or might not be people, maybe 500 times these students, professionals, and so on. They just came in here, they just pressed fork, and what happens when you fork this one, some repository, what happens is there is a clone created, almost the same, but it is basically I will mention about it. Okay, so in your own account, okay, almost the whole code is actually cloned in your own account. Okay, that's cool. So yeah, that's the thing. So if anyone wants to contribute to any project like these, the first thing you have to understand is you have to fork it. Okay, this is the most interesting part. If you want to contribute to any GitHub project, only any GitLab project or any other, Basically what is GitHub, we will mention about it, and you know about, I guess so, by the time, but still we are going to talk about it. Okay, you can see the contributors, so you can see who actually did contribute to this project. Okay, now some interesting factor. So what is this factor, and actually when he started contributing to open source projects, it was kind of messy for me, because there are a lot of things like issue, pull requests, discussion, actions, projects, so on. What happens, what is happening actually? Okay, so let's actually talk about it, what's happening. So basically I will talk much more about these three, okay, because you see there are numbers. Okay, so what are issues? Okay, issues, as by the name, like kind of maybe problems or something you want to let the admin know or something. So anyone can create an issue. Okay, anyone. You don't need to be a first the admin or maintainer of the project. You can see like new issue, you can just create a new issue, just press this and create issues. So these are one of the issues. So what is the issue basically? So it basically is something like when developers do want, like if there are any bugs or anything they want anyone to solve, they actually create an issue. Okay, so here if you check out this example, just an example. So what is this? Okay, so basically he has created an issue. Basically he's actually localizing. This project is all about localizing the project, the terms in their native language. So maybe it is Japanese, if I'm not wrong, JA. So they want, like, yeah, is Japanese. Okay, so localize mutual transport layer security, MTLS. So he has created an issue created an issue, and he has given it some labels. We will understand about it, like what is labels and so on. But the factor is he has created a issue and given it a name. So basically it is the like kind of format does change basically in places to places, but as a whole the issues work is like the maintainers or anyone outside of the maintaining team or anyone can actually create some issue. Maybe if you are talking about like let me give you an example. Like if maintainers created an issue, like if you talk about issue, so okay, if maintainers create an issue, is basically to kind of they have found a bug, but they want anyone to actually work on it. Okay, so they have found a bug, they want anyone to work on it. But if like anyone outside of the team or maintainer to actually create the issue, it's basically for solving, maybe he also has found a bug and he wants to let the maintainers know. Okay, maybe bug or something, and to like solve by anyone, assuming. Okay, but if anyone actually creates an issue, it's basically for maybe he has found a bug and he wants to work on it. Maybe this can be an issue, or he can actually propose a new feature to the project, like, hey, this is the project I've seen, I have downloaded this project in my local. Maybe it's cloning actually, but I'm mentioning downloading so that people can understand. And then he has tried some features, like adding some features to this project, and he is successful or he wants to do it. So he can propose, anyone can actually propose ideas. Okay, it's basically propose ideas. Anyone can actually propose ideas out here in basically in the issues. So this is how things work, right? Now here you can see, if you come out here, you can see like Okabe has mentioned like localize this into Japanese. That means this is the project, this is the link. So you have to localize, that means translate basically into Japanese and contribute. And it is actually different because it is different from project to project, because this project is basically for localizing. So this is a task basically, and he has given labels. So why is this label? Label is something which makes things easier for anyone to understand. Okay, this is the important part, because label is something this makes things easier for anyone to understand. So anyone, if you're new to Git or GitHub or anything or open source, you will surely look for good first issue. Basically, good first issues are created so that any beginners can just work. So because there might be very tough projects, tough bugs and so on. So if you're a beginner and you come here and you check the issue, it will be very overwhelming for you, right? But if you are beginner, you should check for good first issues in any project. It should not be limited to CNCF glossary only. It can be in any projects, right? You can go to any big projects, Google's project, Microsoft, Amazon, anything. You can just go there. You can just try for this, search for the project, and you can find it out. Like, is there any good first issue, right? So how can you find it out? Let's just check it out. From here, if you go here, if you are like, you have never contributed, you just know about any project, what you should do is you should always go to the issues, any project, go there, and maybe you can just search for, you can filter it out, right? So you can just search for good first issue. You can see good for newcomers. There is also a title. So here you can see all of the good first issues currently available. Maybe there is none right now. Also, this is a good thing for you as well, because when something you can see from here 24 open, so these are open, right? And 64 closed as well. So maybe there is none open, but if you see the closed, you can also understand like, okay, this kind of projects are good first issues. Okay, you can learn from them maybe, and also there's something to learn if you just check it out, like localized reliability into Japanese. Now you can see Okabe actually created this one, and what happened basically was like he mentioned I localized this into Japanese, and this file has already been merged. So closes is completed last week. Okay. Okay, there's one interesting portion I have not mentioned. Okay, so issues are also helpful for maintenance to track. Okay, so if you talk about it, like we had this, so track. So now you can say how does it happen? Okay, so I am going to give you the perspective. Actually, who becomes maintainers? This is the question, like who becomes a maintainer, I guess, right? Maintainer. Who becomes a maintainer? Okay, so basically, mostly if it is an open source project, is basically like initially what happens is like like someone actually created the project. So people who actually know the project actually become the maintainer. But gradually, if it is open source and unpaid as a whole, what happens is like students, professionals who actually contribute to the project, they become maintainers. Okay, like contributors then become maintainers. Now the factor is maintainers. Okay, contributors now become maintainers. That's cool. Now, in general, as you know, most of the open source projects are unpaid, right? Except GSOC, like Microsoft's program and few other programs, Outreach and so on. There are few paid programs, but it is limited to 3 months or something like that, limited period. But mostly it's open source is mostly for unpaid stuff. So maintainers have their jobs as well. Like it's different job, right? So most works are done in Slack actually. Okay, like if you just check out what happens globally, you'll see like most of the open source projects, they have their own Slack. So you have to go there. You also need to join their Slack channels, and you have to mention like I want to contribute, or firstly you can create an issue in GitHub and mention in the chat Slack channel so that you can have some conversation. So why am I mentioning these? The thing is, maintainers are busy in their life. Okay, so they actually create an issue, or they might not create an issue or something like that. Assume that a maintainer has created an issue. So now a contributor actually comes in, and what he does is he actually can say, okay, I want to work on this. Okay, so assume like there has been an issue created by maintainer to solve an issue, like to solve assume a just giving an example like sample.txt file. I know these are not like kind of easy stuff. There is nothing actually available in open source, but okay, maintenance create an issue to actually work on sample.txt, maybe solve the bugs or align the lines properly. So we have a character like whose name is actually Naim. Okay, Naim actually comes in, and what he does is basically asks the maintainer. Okay, maintainer is maybe Sakib. Okay, so Sakib has created an issue like solve the problem, and Naim has actually asked like, yes, I want to solve the problem. So where will he propose? He will basically propose in issues, like he will actually comment it out. If you actually talk about like we have open issues, right? Okay, we have open issues like good first issues. Okay, come in. So if you want to contribute to this project, you have to come and mention, hey Okabe, I want to contribute to this one. So what he will do is he will actually assign you. Okay, actually here Okabe actually if you see this closed one, sorry, I think I should be checking for yeah, good first issue is. So what he did is he basically actually created the issue, and he himself actually contributed to this project. Basically he was a maintainer, so as a whole he is contributing. So maintainers can also do that, but the more tougher projects it doesn't happen. Okay, you basically see the maintainers don't work on it, and you have to work on it. Okay, now the factor is this is what happens. So how it helps, let's understand how it helps. Okay, so here is an issue, because it's important to understand. Now we will obviously understand Git and so on, but this is important. Like in the issue, the maintainer asks like solve bug in sample.txt. Now Naim's come in and he says like, okay, I want to contribute. So what actually Sakib does is he actually assigns Naim. So why is it so important? Because in the beginning I also didn't understand like what was happening, why they do this. Like we can do a lot of stuff, and basically the pull request, which we are going to talk about right now, PR. The problem is maybe another guy can come in and say, okay, I want to contribute. Now here comes the solution. Like, now Naim has been assigned, so the maintainer will check if Naim is working on it for a certain period. If Naim is not making any progress, what we will see, there is another man, which is basically Shahriar, which comes in and he says, okay, I want to contribute too. So he will remove Naim and it will be Shahriar. Okay, so this is how actually maintainers do track their progress. There might be a lot of people who are interested to work on it, and also maintainers in general, the maintainers do help you. So they do have some if you have any queries, you can ask in the issue like, hey, I'm stuck on here. But if you want to chat or with the maintainer, you should go for Slack. In the Slack you can just talk like maybe have some chat with the maintainer and talk about like, hey, this is what I did, or I'm stuck out here, help me, something like that. So this is what issue is for. Okay, now comes the most interesting part. Like maybe you have made some changes to the sample project. So how is it done? So let's understand. Okay, So first of all, assume there is a website. Sorry, website doesn't mean, okay, maybe it should be there is the project, which okay, the project is on GitHub, and the project is like Gitmania dot something. Okay, the project name is Gitmania. Okay, assume just Gitmania, no issues. Now the interesting part is like as it is Gitmania. So within that you have in the GitHub, this is basically GitHub repository, and this is the project name. So within that you will see the sample.txt file only. Okay, this is the project, and this is on GitHub. This is the project name, and I have just sample.txt. So now, like you have started with issue. Like you are Naim now. Okay, just assume that Sakib has appointed Naim. Okay, work for it. Okay, Naim is now started working. He has started working. What Naim will do is he will see there is an option called fork. He will just press it. Now a clone of this or copy of this will be out there in Naim's account. Okay, so Naim in Naim's account, he will also see there is something called Gitmania and the sample project. So these are some concepts. So if you have forward any project, you will see by now, but if you have not, you might see that. Okay, now Naim will do one interesting factor, and that is Naim will actually start working on it. Okay, Naim will start working on it in his GitHub account. Now he will just go into the GitHub account, he will make some changes. That's the thing. So this is how basically anyone starts contributing. First he or she goes to issues, and he or she then finds out what is the bug he wants to actually work on, and what are the issues there can he or she solve. Then he asks for it, like, hey, I want to contribute. If he is appointed, he generally works for in the project. So like if you want to contribute open source to open source, what happens? Basically you have to first of all check the issue, like then ask to work on an issue. Then if you are appointed, then fork the project and work on your account. Simple, right? It's simple. So first of all, in these 3 steps, like contributing to open source, right? Contributing to open source, like if you want to contribute to open source, you start with the issue, right? We will understand all of the other concepts and how it goes on in our next session. So thank you so much for taking part in the session. See you in another one.